Hello, everybody. Yeah. Um, I watched this fight, Lejarraga versus Charrat, last night, and I would just want to say a few things about it. Yeah. Now that I have the zone, I can watch these fights live. That's really good. Anyway, I believe I had predicted Charrat to win. Uh, Of course, unless he got screwed by the judges, and that's what happened last night, exactly. Because Shara, come on, no way. Lejarraga was nowhere near deserving that decision, even though one judge had it even. But anyway, the other two gave it to Lejarraga because he was simply fighting, in his home country. But it's always gonna be a problem for guys like Shara who are not such heavy hitters. He was completely dominating the fight in the first 5 rounds. Raga landed a couple of, real punches, maybe only something like that. He would land one or two punches per round. In each one of those 5 rounds, but that was nothing. He was getting tagged repeatedly, really, by Shara in those first 5 rounds. But since this guy, Dylan Shara, is not a puncher, he could not stop him. If he was, the fight would have been over by the 5th round, surely. And in the 6th round, Lara made a comeback. It's like he had waited maybe to really start throwing, or maybe it took him so long to figure out Shara. I don't know why, but he still wasn't that dominant. He did win the 6th round. The 7th was pretty even. Both guys had their, big moments. You can make an argument for either guy winning it, or it being even round simply. In the 8th, Laraga won, yeah, the round 2. But in the 9th, I thought Shara just snatched it because it was a very inactive round. But Shara landed the only big punch in that round, the 9th. So I definitely had him ahead, at least by 3 points. And then going into the 10th round, it was pretty close. Even though the round wasn't over yet, the judges did score that round as well. Sorry. And yeah, they did score that round. I don't know really how I would have scored either even round. Again, a round that could have gone to either guy, but still, even if I scored around for Lejarraga, he still loses. Actually, he still does not come anywhere near to winning that fight. Even if I gave him 4 rounds, which is the maximum which I could give him that fight, he still loses because Shara definitely won 6 rounds. Alright, there is no doubt about it. And as I said, 7th was very even, so I had a round. I scored an even round. So actually, maybe Laraga didn't win more than 2 rounds or 3 tops. So what I liked at the end was that Laraga was a good sportsman. He was he took Sharat's hand and was like showing everybody, saying as if he was saying this guy can really fight, and he really can. I was really impressed because this was the first time I watched this guy. And he really is a really good boxer who is aggressive despite not being a puncher. That's what you gotta always admire because guys who are not hard hitters or punchers usually stay away. I mean, they usually focus on being just moving in boxing, being defensive rather than offensive. But this guy really went at it because he knew he wouldn't be given a fight if he just, they was being cautious. But still, it didn't help. That's what's so bloody unfair. That's become a really big problem lately in this sport. And not just in the United States, also in such countries as Spain, because I believe all three judges were Spanish or they had Spanish names anyway. So, you know, you cannot avoid such stuff. Such stuff. Lejarraga is a popular fighter, He's a puncher. But I mean, he simply didn't deserve to get that decision. And it's a pretty. I thought maybe that cut wasn't that bad, It wasn't as bad. It must, that they, uh, had to stop it at once. They could have perhaps waited another round and then, let them finish that round and then, see what happens. But I have the feeling that they were kind of, saying, oh, if he goes on and fights, he'll likely not do so well because he's bleeding. And, it's hard to fight well when you have a cut like that, and Charrat was also starting to come on again, to you're really getting back into the fight. I mean, in the ninth round also. I mean, the ninth round was not so didn't have so many exchanges, but in the 10th, both guys really went at it. And even though Charrat is not a puncher, as I said, not a hard one, he did still manage to really land some good punches, and he did manage to hurt Mr. Lejarraga. So, while he seemed to take Lejarraga's punches very well, he didn't really look, I mean, it was one with body shot at the end of the eighth that looked like it hurt him. But that was pretty much it. Otherwise, he took all the punches from a guy like Lejarraga well, and that's pretty impressive. So he's a tough nut, definitely. Yeah. So I hope they give him a rematch because he really deserves that. And this time it should not be in Spain. It should be somewhere more neutral. Or even in France. Why not? That would be fair, I feel. So yeah, I mean, I don't really like this stuff going on, and you see it everywhere. Also in England, in Germany, you saw it before. Also, the home judging. It's not fair. Especially in cases like this, it is for a title. It's, and this guy Charrat was moving. It was a very important fight for him. If he had won, if he had gotten the decision, he could have gone on to fight for a world title pretty soon. But now this has set him back, undeserved. So yeah, it's not really fair, of course, but that's the sport of boxing. There's politics, always some kind of politics behind it, and yeah. So that was about that. All right. See you around. Bye.